If you want to increase your skill of setting effective goals, then this is for you. In this video, I'll be unpacking the S.M.A.R.T goal acronym and share examples of how to transform a goal into a S.M.A.R.T goal. A S.M.A.R.T stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So let's jump right into it. We start with specific. Ask yourself this question: can I clearly articulate it? If your goal becomes this long ramble with multiple sub-goals or too vague, then try to restate it. The shorter and more precise, the better. In a previous video, I mentioned the yearly phenomenon of the New Year resolution gym flood, which usually lasts 1 to 2 months. Let's try to take this very common goal, which recurs after every Christmas season. Let's say that Johnny has, like most others, gained a little weight over Christmas holidays. It's New Year Eve and he says his New Year resolution: this year I want to get in better shape. So this is actually short, but it's not very precise. Because what is better shape? Is it to be able to run fast or run far? Is it to gain muscles or lose weight? Is it to help the aching back pain? Or is it to increase overall energy levels? All depending on what this is, the action to achieve the goal will look very different. Let's say that he wants to gain some muscle and lose some fat in the process. This is more precise, making it much easier to hit the goal. But it could be even more precise. What is the purpose of the muscle gained? Does Johnny want to be athletic, a strong man, or just have a beach body? Knowing what he's aiming for will help him to actually hit the target. He will know what kind of exercise he needs to train. Let's say that Johnny, he just wants a beach body. He wants to look good, visible abs, broad wings, and bulky biceps. The second step is to make it measurable. How do you determine if you've already completed your goal? You can ask yourself this question: can I measure my progress? It might be a simple yes or no question like, did I reach the mountain peak or did I not? But in most cases, we need to put some numbers to it. If you do not know where the finish line is for your goal, it's very difficult to know how far you've already gotten, how far you have left, or how you're going to be able to celebrate your achievement. And this can really hurt your game plan and your motivation. In Johnny's case, he can go about doing this in several ways. He can try to put some numbers to his desired weight that he wants to achieve. It could be that he wants a certain size overarms that he wants to measure. It could be a certain BMI number, the body mass index. Or it could be that he does it very different and say, for the next period of time, I'm gonna carve out 3 hours every single week on doing specific kind of exercise while eating healthier. But with this kind of goal, he also needs to know exactly what kind of exercise he wants to focus on and define what eating healthier actually means to him. Because knowing what you're aiming for very specific and how far you have left can help you stay focused and let you celebrate when you have achieved your goal. Let us say in Johnny's case that he would like to go from 20% to 10% body fat and dropping from 85 kilo to 80 kilo, while at the same time having his dad bod transform into upper body muscles. The third letter A stands for attainable. Can you make it attainable? You can ask yourself this question: can I make this happen? A high percentage of the gym dropout actually is due to unrealistic goal setting. That leads to injury or burnout. A lot of people also call this step the reality check. One important thing is to recognize that we are only in control of ourselves. Making goals that are fully or in part dependent on other people increases the risk of failure. Most people would like to get a job promotion, but this is not fully dependent on us. In the end, it is our boss' decision. But what you can have as a good goal is to make yourself more desirable to promote. Another thing to consider is if it's actually within your capabilities. This touches on a lot of different factors, like do you have the resources needed to make this happen? Do you have the skill set to be able to make this happen? Or do you have the time that you need to make this happen? Do you know the deadline? Do you have the amount of hours you need to be able to carve out from your current schedule to reach it in time? And this also touches on the next part, which is relevance. But before we jump there, I just want to quickly touch on the guy Johnny, which badly wants a beach body. So let us just say for the sake of it, that there is nothing within his physical health that is hindering Johnny to get his beach body. The fourth thing, as I mentioned, is relevance. Motivation is key for getting anything done in life. People do not change on the basis of information, but motivation. And you could start with asking yourself this question when you set a goal. Is this actually important to me? The Proverbs that says, "For the lack of vision, people perish," speaks to the importance of having something to hold on to, motivation to keep moving forward towards the goal. And the more effort something takes, the more motivation is needed. If we go to Johnny, let's say that he actually doesn't care about getting this beach body, he will never get it. His motivation for reaching that goal must be stronger than the cost of the time and effort and money, energy that he needs to put in to get there. Let's say that Johnny has made this New Year resolution several times and have failed every single time. He wouldn't really be alone in that, right? But how can we make sure that he succeeds this time? We're all different people, and it's different what motivates us. Luckily for us, there's a lot of ways that we can go about boosting our overall motivation levels. One of the key things to do is to keep our focus locked on the vision and what it gives us when we finally achieve that goal. If your goal takes a lot of time to accomplish, a help could be to chop it up into milestones so you can start celebrating the progress as you're moving. Another way to go about doing it and increase your motivation is to use either a carrot or stick. What I mean by this is that you set yourself up with an extra treat when you finally achieve your goal, or you can set up yourself with an extra consequence if you fail to achieve your desired goal. For me personally, I like to see myself as a man of integrity. So if there's something that I struggle with getting done, I simply just tell it to a few people. That forces me to get it done so I don't break my own word. Knowing how to increase your motivation is great help to get things done. These are all ways that could help increase his motivation level, but at the very baseline, Johnny needs to know why it's important to him to get that beach body, to really have the motivation that he needs to achieve it. Let's say that Johnny's motivation comes from wanting to impress the others at his upcoming high school reunion. Knowing that he has failed to achieve this goal in the previous years, he decides to partner with a work colleague who is already in the habit of working out. This helps him to make the process a lot more fun and at the same time have accountability, which is another great motivator. The last part of the SMART goal is the T, which stands for time-based. When are you planning to begin? Someday is never gonna come around unless you plan for it. You're gonna ask yourself this question: when can I get this done by? Perhaps you've already been given a specific deadline, which already makes it time-based. I'll touch on this in a bit. But first, here is for you who do not already have a deadline. Here's an easy way that you can calculate a wish deadline that you can set for yourself. The first step you need to do is give yourself an estimation of the total amount of hours you need to complete your goal. When you have that, you can start looking at how many hours can you set aside on a weekly basis. This would actually automatically give you the estimated time frame that you can set for yourself. Let's say, for example, that you have estimated that you need 20 hours to be able to complete your goal, and you've found out that you are able to set aside 5 hours on a weekly basis, which already gives you the total time frame of 4 weeks. If instead, with the 20 hours, you only find you can set aside 2 hours, then you have a 10-week deadline. What I want to encourage you to do is set a very specific deadline, a specific date, a specific time that you want to set for yourself. Over time, this will need to be revised simply because your progress is going to project if your current workflow is going to get you to the desired destination at the time that you have set. So either maybe you find out that you need to add another hour or 2 on a weekly basis, or you need to change your deadline. In Johnny's case, he begins with the deadline since he wants to achieve his goal before the high school reunion. That is where his motivation lies. This is coming up on June 20th, which gives him roughly 25 weeks to work on his goal. He then needs to either give an estimation of his total time investment needed and divide it into 25 weeks, or figure out how much time he's willing to invest in this on a weekly basis, which then will give him the total time investment. This will have Johnny reevaluate the level of relevance this has to him, so that he knows how much he's willing to throw at it. And from there, he will know if his current goal is indeed attainable within the given time frame. As Johnny is thinking through the 25 weeks timetable, he checks his schedule to find the time needed for working out, weighing his wish for achieving the beach body with all of his other priorities. He finds that he is unwilling to compromise on the majority of his other activities, and he can only carve out 3 hours per week, and realizes that with his current starting point of 20% body fat, his goal of getting all the way down to 10% body fat doesn't seem attainable within that timetable, so he settles on 15. Johnny went from a wish to a SMART goal. He went from, this year I want to get in better shape, to the next 25 weeks I will train 3 hours each week with a colleague, to transform my dad bod into visible abs, broad wings, and bulky biceps, dropping from 85 kilo to 80 kilo, and going from 20% to 15% body fat. He knows what kind of shape specifically, which means that he knows exactly what he needs to train. And he knows how much better shape is, so he can track his progress and know if he indeed achieved his goal. He readjusted his goal to fit the current deadline and the weekly hours that he was willing to put into it to make it attainable. He found out how many hours he was willing to commit on a weekly basis and found ways to make the gym time more fun while keeping himself accountable at the same time. And he knows exactly when he wants to reach his goal, which helps him compare his progress with his current deadline. Johnny has a specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based goal. He has a SMART goal. This makes it a lot easier to act upon and increases the likelihood that he will succeed. I hope that this has been helpful for you, and you'll be able to transform your goals into SMART ones. If you're serious about making some positive change in your life, you might want to consider partnering with a life coach. A life coach is a change expert that partners with you to help you reach your full potential and achieve your goals. You can find my website and other content linked in the description down below. I'm David Kelstrup. Have a blessed day.